Once upon a time, in a quaint suburban neighborhood, there lived a man named Mr. Thompson. His house, tucked away at the end of the street, exuded an eerie aura that sent shivers down the spines of all who passed by. The neighbors had always whispered about him, sharing unsettling stories of strange occurrences and odd behavior. Little did they know that the true horror was yet to unfold. The first unsettling encounter happened to Mrs. Johnson, the elderly widow who lived next door. One moonlit night, as she peered through her bedroom window, she saw Mr. Thompson standing in his backyard, bathed in the glow of the pale moon. He was whispering something inaudible, his face contorted with an expression of both anguish and delight. Mrs. Johnson couldn't shake off the feeling that he was summoning something sinister. Days turned into weeks, and the rumors grew more ominous. Children claimed they had glimpsed eerie shadows lurking in Mr. Thompson's yard, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Some swore they heard chilling cries emanating from his house late at night, as if tortured souls were trapped within. One evening, a curious teenager named Mark decided to investigate the mystery. Armed with a flashlight and a camera, he approached Mr. Thompson's house, determined to uncover the truth. As he tiptoed through the overgrown grass, the air grew heavy, and an unnatural silence enveloped the atmosphere. Mark peered into a cracked window and gasped at what he saw. The walls of Mr. Thompson's living room were adorned with archaic symbols, etched in blood-red paint. The room was filled with a dim, flickering light, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Mark's heart pounded in his chest as he noticed a black, tattered book lying open on a table. It seemed to be a sinister grimoire, filled with incantations and forbidden knowledge. Suddenly, a gust of wind slammed the window shut, and Mark found himself trapped inside the house. Panic consumed him as he heard footsteps approaching from the hallway. He cowered behind a dusty curtain, praying that he wouldn't be discovered. The footsteps grew louder, accompanied by a low, guttural chant that sent chills down Mark's spine. Peeking through the curtain, Mark witnessed a horrifying sight. Mr. Thompson stood in the center of the room, his eyes glowing with an unholy light. He raised his hands, and the air crackled with electricity. Shadows swirled around him, coalescing into a grotesque, monstrous form. It lunged forward, its claws scraping against the wooden floor, as if desperate to escape its ethereal prison. In that moment, Mark realized the true nature of his neighbor. Mr. Thompson was a practitioner of dark magic, dabbling in forbidden arts that summoned malevolent entities from beyond. The neighborhood had unknowingly become a breeding ground for unspeakable horrors. Summoning all his courage, Mark made a daring escape, narrowly avoiding the clutches of the shadowed being. He alerted the authorities, but when they arrived at Mr. Thompson's house, it was empty. The symbols on the walls had vanished, leaving no trace of the dark forces that had once resided there. After Mr. Thompson vanished from his house, an intense investigation began, led by the local authorities who were determined to uncover the truth behind his dark practices. They delved into his history, searching for any clues or connections that could shed light on his disappearance. However, their efforts proved futile as they hit dead ends at every turn. Rumors began to circulate among the neighbors. Some speculated that Mr. Thompson had met a supernatural fate, dragged away by the very entities he had summoned, it with a lingering sense of unease. The residents became more vigilant, watchful of any signs that might hint at the reappearance of supernatural forces or another neighbor with dark intentions. Some claimed to have seen fleeting glimpses of Mr. Thompson, a specter haunting the outskirts of the community, forever trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. Others believe he had succumbed to the very darkness he had summoned, becoming a conduit for the malevolent forces he had sought to control. Regardless of what truly occurred, the tale of Mr. Thompson and his twisted practices served as a stark reminder to the neighborhood of the dangers that can lurk beneath a seemingly ordinary facade. To this day, residents remain cautious, forever wary of the shadows and the potential horrors that lie hidden within the enclave of their neighbors' lives. If you want to know the true horror stories of 2023, be sure to watch this video. And if you like today's story, subscribe and send it to your friends.